Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Podcasting Mastered. I'm Chelsea, and I'm here with Wade as always. And it is the month of May, so it is Happy Asian American and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Month. And so we are back celebrating lots of cool mediums involving Asian Americans. We've covered a variety of books and video games and movies the last couple years. And on this week's episode, we are going to be talking about a TV show. And that TV show is Interior Chinatown. Now, I kind of feel like this show kind of like went under the radar. Like I saw like bits and pieces before it came out, like kind of hyping it a bit. So this is a Hulu show where Hulu dropped all the episodes on one day, which is also kind of unique.
For Hulu, yeah.
Yes,
they don't do
yeah.
that a whole lot.
No. And so it came out last November. So November of 2024. There's 10 episodes. They're like kind of like, you know, roughly like hour-long episodes type.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a crazy time.
Like, if you go look up anything about this show, like, it's not going to help you. Just watch it. Just jump in, hit play, and just go to town. Just pay attention. Because, it, you know, however they choose to, like, dissect the start of the show to, like, summarize it, it's not going to be, like, what it's going to be. So just watch it. Just go. Go to town. Don't do any homework. Don't listen to this episode first. Go watch it and then come back.
Yes.
Like, we got to do it justice.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's so interesting, too, because this is a show that's based on a novel of the same name, Interior Chinatown, that was released in 2020. And it's by Charles Yu, who also was involved in, like, the story of the show. But what's interesting is that they are similar, but still totally different from each other. Like, thematically, they have a lot of the same vibes, but it's so interesting. Also, a side note about this book, because I did read it before, because I was really curious if it was similar, just because of how crazy the show is. So this book is written kind of like a screenplay. Like, it's written in the same type of font, and it talks about the characters in a vague way. So it's this really kind of super meta commentary on Asian Americans living in the US, how they are portrayed in media, and how these characters deal with that is really a very, very vague overview.
Yeah, it's, good lord, it's so wild. Like, you get, like, this weird part, like, social reflection of Chinese immigrants in America, but, like, not. It's so out there. And it kind of keeps, like, flip-flopping on, like, the message it's telling you. But, like, also, everything it's telling you is, you know, in, like, an entertaining way. Like, a comedic way. But there's a lot of good things to pull out. Good messages and stuff to pull out, too. Especially if you're understanding what's happening the whole time.
Yeah. It's so interesting because this show, in so many ways, it feels like this really cool experiment. A way of just, like, really trying to push the boundaries in so many ways of how you tell a story about the different layers, the characters you see, because, like, something you'll notice when watching the show, you're like, what is happening? Like, in general, what is real? What is not real? Like, where am I? Who are these characters? What's happening? And, like,
that is, yeah, that's the entire show right there.
Yes.
Good lord.
Yeah. And there's so many times where if you notice, like, the lighting will change during certain segments, like, where you'd be like, oh, I thought it was shot differently. Now we have more of the blue, like, super cinematic tones right now. Now we have, like, more seriousness, very dramatic looking at the camera. And we'll talk a little bit more about, like, our main character is Willis Wu. And he just feels like he's just a regular Asian guy. That's what he just sees himself as. Nothing more, nothing less. He works at the Golden Palace, the large Chinese food restaurant in Chinatown. But then all these strange things start happening to him. He has a dream. His dream is to become Kung Fu guy. That is the life. That is the thing to strive to.
Well, he wants to like witness a murder.
Yes.
He wants to you know, like, to be like on those police shows.
Yeah.
You know, it's he has all these big dreams. He wants to get out of Chinatown. He wants to be somebody. Yeah, he wants to be Kung Fu guy.
Because that's the way to get out. If you can
that's how you get out of
Kung Fu
Chinatown. Guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're, like, also presented at the same time. Like, we're introduced to, like, his friends and some of the characters. And then you're kind of like...
Fatty.
Yes. Fatty.
Fatty.
Yeah. Which Fatty has, like, a very different viewpoint on life compared to Willis. He's more of kind of like, hey, man, it's just life.
I don't want to be remembered. I just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
I just want to, like, do my boring job of taking the trash out and go play video games.
Yeah. He's content with that very simplistic lifestyle. And he's more like happy with who he is, and he's not afraid to like call people out on crap. And you have Willis being like, but I want to be more. I want to appease a bit
what
more.
if
Like,
what if we were more than just like a Chinese dude in Chinatown?
Yeah.
What if we could just be more than that?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he's like, I don't give a crap. Bye.
Yeah. And then, where Willis does suddenly, like, he wants more of his life, and then, he does witness a crime about a woman getting kidnapped.
Sure does, yeah.
And it all spirals from there, and then he kind of gets wrapped up in this conspiracy thing with, like, he meets a police officer who notices him, and he's also like, who is this? I've never seen her before. She's the main
so
dude.
cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Meet Lana Lee.
Well, this is after, of course, the big giant action scene where like these two gangs come into the restaurant, and they're like gonna like duke off, and he's all like, no, I gotta protect the territory. So they all, like, he fights both of the gangs, except, like, he's actually really good.
Yes.
At Kung Fu. And Fatty is like, what is going on? He's, like, running around trying to fight, too, but, like, he's not trained.
Yes.
I love that. But they still end up losing, like, poor Willis. He's, like, in 98% of that fight, and then all of a sudden he, like, loses. Like, it's a bummer.
It's, like, almost there, but not quite type thing.
Yeah,
but
and then the detective comes in, yeah.
Yes. But we should mention our main cast, because it's a fun group. So Willis is played by Jimmy O. Yang, who has been in plenty of things. He's a comedic actor. Of course, he was in Crazy Rich Asians. I remember seeing the Love Hard movie that was a Netflix, like, Christmas rom-com he was in. So
I think he was in like Silicon Valley too.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah. So he's definitely been around a while. And then his friend Fatty is Ronny Chieng, who he's just great in everything. He's also was in Crazy Rich Asians. He was also in Joyride, a brief moment in that. That's the movie we covered, I believe, last year. So also listen to that episode if you haven't. That's also a great movie. That's a wild ride. A good episode too, yes. But then, yes, we have our female detective come in, and that is Chloe Bennet.
Chloe Bennet.
Oh my gosh. Love her. Loved her since the very beginning. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Heck yes.
Gotta get Daisy in there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Which I've always been like curious, like, after Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended, like, what else is she doing next? And so honestly, when I saw that she was in a new TV show, I was like, okay, what is this TV show? Watching it, I don't even know what it's about. It's definitely, like we said, good to go into the show not knowing any idea about it, because it's an experience. And it was just like, yep. And she just plays that cool detective. Well, she seemingly, but then sometimes she, like, when she meets Willis, she's like, okay, well, you want to help me with this case? And he's like,
she comes off as so cool and in control, and he's all like, you are a goddess and I will worship you. But then you find out real quickly that she actually doesn't know what's happening. She's the assistant to some detectives. She is, all on her own, just like Willis is all on his own.
Yeah. Which we could talk about who she's the assistant to. So we are introduced to... It's kind of plays off as this whole, like, television show that is very much Law and Order.
Oh, yeah. Impossible Crimes Unit. Black and white.
Yeah. You get, like, the music playing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In black and white, because, yes.
They're black and white.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we have our female, which is Green, and our male character, his name is Turner. And, yep. They team up and, Impossible Crimes Unit. They solve them all.
They solve every single crime. Mm-hmm. Like, immediately. Like, they get it.
Yeah.
They bag the baddie and move on.
Yeah. And so it's really interesting watching these characters, because they really, like, when you're first introduced to them, they are very, very, like, one-dimensional, like, over-the-top characters.
You almost hate when they show up.
Yes.
Because it's like, it pulls you out of, like, the story and the action of, like, what's happening. And you're just like, oh my god. Like, and it's one of those things, like Chelsea said earlier, like, the lighting changes. When they're about to show up. Because, like, the lights turn up to 10, and everybody's really busy, and everybody's flying around and being busy in the police precinct as they're, like, walking through, calling for this and that and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd hate to see them coming, but as the show goes on, like, they're completely different characters. Mm-hmm. And, like, at first I hated Green, the lady. Yeah. Like, oh my god, she sucks. Like,
she's also super racist and thinks she's so funny with all of her jokes.
Good lord, like, she's a lot of things. But then, like, as it goes on, and she's kind of, like, separated from Turner, from her partner, who's going through like a midlife crisis.
Yes.
She changes, and I loved that for her. Like when she was on the screen, then I was like, yes, tell me more. Also, the whole thing with like Chloe Bennett's character.
There's a lot with her character.
Like, sorry, like shut up, you're still not my type. We're not going to be friends. You're still not my type.
Yeah. And she's like, I wasn't asking, but okay, thanks. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's what's so interesting is that like when, yeah, like we said, when they're on screen for this whole like black and white type, like your weekly
police
murder
drama.
type show, police drama show, like their focus is solely on them. They're the only ones that exist in this world. And we have like Willis on the outside. But after he witnesses this crime and after Lana kind of is like, hey, I'm going to bring you in on this case, we're going to kind of like figure things out. It's just interesting because, yeah, we see a shift. We see more about all these characters. We see like a lot of these characters, like we said, are just very simple. Like Turner and Green, like looks like one dimensional, but no, we get more growth. We see people changing and doing things out of the ordinary because one of the overarching stories that we have to do is Willis's family is really broken. Like, Willis had an older brother, and he was the kung fu guy. He helped the police. He did all this stuff. He was the coolest one. He was the one who had a brighter future. But he's been missing for a very long time now, and it's torn his family apart. Like, his parents don't really interact with each other. He doesn't really like interacting with his parents. It's just kind of like out of duty he does. And, like, one day during this time, Willis's mother just decides, like, I'm done being sad. I want to do more in life. I want something for myself.
Real estate agent.
Yes.
Bless her heart.
Yeah. And like, no, she puts her mind to it and like she studies, she gets her certification and she becomes a real estate agent. And it's hard for other people to see that around her. They're like, I don't believe this. It's just a piece of paper.
Like why are you doing this? Like,
yeah.
Well, you know, like your son's taking care of you. Why are you working?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing that?
She's like, no, I need something for myself. I need something to call my own. And I'm like, you go, girl. Because it's just, yeah, I mean, she has one son who's very distant from her and her other son's missing. And she's like, yeah, I need to focus my time elsewhere. And so that's like also a really interesting story because we also get to follow like the mom around a bit and her trying to make her way in the industry and with real estate because there's another hot real estate lady in town. She gets all the deals. She works for the big
Betty.
company. Yes. Which it's so interesting to see Betty and like Willis's mom interact because like Betty also grew up in Chinatown, but she's like, they're not my people anymore type vibe. Like,
yeah, she's like, totally moved on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so she's like, oh, I guess, you know, you can help me with real estate in Chinatown, but like nobody wants to live here and stuff. And Willis's mom is kind of like, no, there's something that you can see. There is good here. You're just like so far removed, you don't understand. And she's like, psh, you're in the big leagues now. Like, don't worry about other people. And it's just, you see this like disconnect about people of how they view Chinatown, where they grew up, and like people who want to escape and ignore it, and other people who fully embrace where they came from and appreciate what's there type thing. And so that's with the mom. And then we have like Willis's dad, who's just a really old man now, kind of grumpy, withdrawn. Just, he used to be a super kung fu dude too as well. He trained the older brother and saw potential in the older brother, but not in Willis. And so Willis is forever trying to live up to his brother and also please his dad, but that doesn't come easy. Or at all.
No.
Yeah.
Or at all.
Yeah. But yeah, like talking about Lana in general too, besides like her interactions with like Sarah and stuff, we also see like Willis being like in awe of her and like in love, and Lana being like, we have more important things to worry about. We can't slow down. We have to work on the case. We have to do this and that. But she also like says some really weird things at the beginning when she's introduced, because Willis is also kind of like, you're a detective? Like, I haven't seen you before. Like, how long have you been a detective? And she's like, oh, you know, I've done like this job, like 1,000 other things. And she like names off the most random things. And then it's like, how'd you become an officer? It's like, just one day it happened. And you're like, okay, that's weird.
Hot people problems, just
yeah,
getting whatever job you want. Yeah.
And that's the thing that like Lana struggles with, that like Willis is saying like, well, you're so lucky, look at you in this situation. And she's like, you think it's lucky, but it's not. Like, I have my own problems too. And that's something also that you see at like a deeper level too, because it's not even discussed until like a lot later in the season, is that like Lana is Asian, but like she doesn't have the same lived experience as like Willis does or
Oh,
anybody
for
else
sure.
in Chinatown.
Yeah. She doesn't have any of that cultural background.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, because she does get like rudely called out about like, oh, well, you're not like us. You're not like fully
You're
Chinese.
an outsider.
Yeah, you're an outsider. And like, it kind of plays a little bit that aspect about like people who are half Asian and stuff, like they're caught between two worlds. And we literally see her with the police show with they're like recognizing her and they call her like the Chinatown expert, but they don't even know who she is or know that she doesn't know anything. They're just like, oh, you look vaguely Asian. Therefore, like there's really just like playing up those stereotypes.
You must
just,
be
like,
an expert on Chinatown. Let's go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Preconceived notions. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And you also see that a lot with Willis. So Willis as a character is very interesting because once he's he wants to move up in the world and he finds a way to try to become important and get more information about this missing persons case, but then he also realizes it's somehow connected to his brother missing as well. And so he wants to infiltrate the police station. And we see his character like kind of evolve into different roles type thing where like he's ignored by everybody. He can't even get into the building. And you watch like Lana watching him on the camera and you're like...
And she's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Like, are you a joke? Like, why can't you freaking open the door? And he's like, it's locked. And you're just like, what is happening? And then slowly he gets in and then becomes like a delivery guy. He is like, hey, I can deliver food to people. And some people start noticing him in the office because anytime he'd been around, like anytime this police stuff was happening, he was like not in the spotlight.
Literally invisible. He could be standing right in front of like
literally
Green,
right in front of
Green and Turner. He could be standing right in front of them, talking to them, and they do not hear him, like at all, all. Which is, I mean, it's comedic for sure, but like also like it's a reflection. It's a societal reflection, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for real. And so we see that, and we keep seeing like Willis kind of like taking a role. Like you said, it's comedic in ways, and he tries to like be seen, be heard, to like find out what's like where his brother went and stuff. But like you're just like looking at this whole as a deeper level as well of being like, oh, he's starting to get noticed more because he has like more of that prominent role, like because it is like a police procedural, so you're like looking at it as like the TV roles that like a lot of times you may have seen throughout the years that Asian Americans get, like, oh, they're the tech guy, they deliver the food, they're just like the silly part, you know, they're never the full lead role.
Well, and I love that all of these roles that Willis takes on or like accepts of himself, they're literally the titles of the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah,
we start
super
with,
interesting.
Yeah, we start with generic Asian man, then we evolve into delivery guy, tech guy, kung fu guy, Chinatown expert, translator. You know, like, and that is the evolution of his character as he goes, which is in itself a plot point.
Mm-hmm.
When they came in like that second to last episode or wherever, like Green is just like, yeah, this guy, he's been around this whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, what are you talking
liar.
about?
Yeah. Rude.
Like, you didn't notice him until now. Like, he has been here, but like, you literally ignored him. You just have this epiphany, which is, again, it's part of the plot, right?
Mm-hmm.
That all of a sudden, because the story needs him to be recognized, he is recognized. But, you know, which that just plays into like the genius of the show a little bit. Because like Willis, he understands that he's invisible to most types of people, and he takes advantage of that. He learns to like use that as a tool instead of like, wow, that really sucks. People don't even know who I am. Mm-hmm. But it evolves. It changes as it goes on.
Yeah, it does. And also kind of talking about how like the episode titles are really interesting. Another thing that's interesting is like the little like introduction to like, you know, when the title of the show appears. Like when you're watching the show, like the show is called Interior Chinatown, but when it shows up on screen for each episode, it's INT period Chinatown, which is how you write in a screenplay. When you're talking about a location where the scene starts, it's the INT, interior is the location, Chinatown. So it's like, It also is similar to like the book being written as a script, but also plays into the whole deeper narrative of the show as well, kind of giving a hint here and there. And just also when you like all the lighting changes at certain points with like Willis being like recognized by other people, we also see just some interest, like weird things happen. Like there's plenty of those moments you're like, how is that real? Like, how is he doing this without anybody questioning this? Like, what is happening? And you get like so many other characters involved, like Willis's uncle, who like or I don't know, I think it is, no, it's his actually his uncle.
It's
a lot of people
his
just call
actual
him uncle. Yeah, that runs the restaurant, but he also has this like underground like job that nobody can quite figure out. It seems a little sketchy. It seems like,
And man, was that not like a flip around? Holy cow.
yeah.
When you find out like what's going on with that, I was like, oh, I thought I was like, oh, that's pretty easy to identify what's happening.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Nope, I was wrong.
Yeah. And like another thing, like, because we don't have to dive in too spoilerly, but like the woman that Willis sees gets kidnapped in like the first episode, he sees her just casually on the street like a few days later or something. And he's like, wait, that's the girl that also was like murdered too. He's like, how is she there? And like she runs away, and he's like, that's weird. And you're like, okay, some weird things are happening. Because another thing that plays into it is that like when Green and Turner get involved and like Willis is being brought along, and you have Lana and Everest being like, we need to find out this mystery that's happening in Chinatown. Who is this gang? And Willis is like, I've lived in Chinatown my entire life. Like, what the freaking heck are you talking about?
People.
Like,
Yeah.
what are you, like, stop making up stuff. Like, this isn't real. You're just trying to make it for fun. Like, no, this gang is here. And you're like, okay, like, what's up with this? Like, who's lying? Who's telling the truth? But clearly, like, we've never seen any evidence of this except for the magical evidence, like, the police have. And you're like, is there a setup involved? Like, why is this happening? But it's also kind of like, oh, this TV show in general is set in Chinatown. Like, there's also some commentary. Of course, there has to be some, like, gang involved to, you know, entertainment value. And then you're like, interesting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this is quite a different kind of show. Like, I didn't know what I was getting into. I just kind of pressed play. I'm like, the show will tell me what it is. But by the end of the first episode, I was just like, okay, I think like, okay, this is what it's gonna be. But then the second episode, I was like, by the end of the second episode, I was just like, no, that was not what I thought. And every episode is just kind of like adds layers, takes away layers. Like, it's really weird until you understand what happens in the finale. And it's just like, oh, everything kind of clicks into place. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe they got me with that. Like,
yeah, it's wild. It's a show that, like, it can be frustrating in that regard because you're like, I think I know what's happening, but I don't know. But it's also just like, at the same time, just kind of like, just be here for the, like, experience. Because overall, it's a fun show. There are, I think plenty of funny jokes. There's interesting character interactions. We do get, like I said, moments of just more depth in these characters. And in general with the show too, we see a lot like where people start out at the very beginning as just being like almost one note or just being what they're told to be or expected to be, and then we see people just reaching for dreams and accomplishing things that are more and becoming who they want to be in their own people. And that becomes a big part of the show towards the end, where it's a problem in the show, but like it's not a problem. Yeah. It's one of those shows, too, where I'm like, I definitely want to watch it all over again because, like, I try to pick up as many things as possible. But yeah. But it's so neat. And then, oh my gosh, just the way they tie some of the stuff together at the end. It's just like, you'll be like, oh my gosh, that is freaking hilarious. That is crazy. Oh, another thing that's kind of interesting is that because, like, it plays up, like, whenever the police are involved, this whole, like, Law and Order show, everything has this, like, retro vibe to it. But you also find out that, like, it's the 90s.
Yeah, I had to do some mental math. I didn't really care like when it was set. It was like modern enough, so you're just like, okay, it's, rundown Chinatown kind of feel. But then when Willis is like going through the footage at the precinct and like the night that like his brother disappeared, it was labeled as like November whatever 1984, and I was like, okay, but, like. Because you don't know, like, how long ago, even, that he disappeared. Yeah. So you're just kind of like, what? And then later on, I think the same episode, they say something how that was, like, 12 years ago. He's been gone for 12 years. And I was like, boom. I was like, this takes place in 1996.
Yes.
Like, what?
And I was like, I was not expecting that, but that's also kind of cool. And I was like, whoa.
Like, that explains all of the, like, analog technology that most of the cast is using. But then, like, the precinct... It's like, that is not stuff from 1996, Like, some of that stuff that they were doing, I was like, okay. I mean, it's very police drama-y, where they're just kind of like, this machine can do this, It's
my favorite as the tech guy stuff. Enhance.
Works every time. Works every time.
Yeah.
Like, all you do is just press a button, and you just double-click, and you just move it over here, and it's just done.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I thought that was like a interesting tidbit, because I feel like sometimes in general, especially when I watch shows, unless it's not really clear, I just kind of assume it's like roughly modern day. But then as watching it, you're like, wait a minute, that math.
Not this one.
Yeah.
Also, like, ow, that 1996 isn't like modern. Like, ow.
No, sorry.
My soul.
I know.
I was 6.
Oh man. But I mean, I don't really want give spoilers. I'm like, I could keep talking about all the minor details, all the really cool little tidbits, but like, listeners, I want you to watch the show.
We want you to have something to enjoy and catch on to if you make the decision to go watch it, because it's only 10 episodes. It's really good.
Yeah.
Promise. Action, comedy, nonsense. Chloe Bennet. Like, okay.
What more do you need? Nothing.
What more do you need?
It's perfect. Yeah.
8 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Perfect.
Yeah, of course, that too. Yeah.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Is it 8 seasons? I think I was just taking a guess there, but I think I'm pretty close.
Yeah, it's either 7 or 8. It's a show that I was so glad lasted as long as it did, but...
I need to go and, like, rewatch that sometime, because I didn't finish it. I only got to, like... I got through, like, the 4 or 5 seasons, I think. Before, it's, like, after or during the Inhuman stuff.
Okay, yeah. There's quite a bit. Yeah,
so, like, Daisy was
yeah.
Daisy, by the time I stopped watching, but... Anyway, I digress.
There'll be another episode sometime, for sure.
Oh, my lord.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I would love it. But no, so I think, like we said, yeah, go watch it. Mm-hmm. Any other final notes that we want to discuss about the show?
I don't think so. I'm just like, I love the cast. They're just so good.
Mm-hmm.
They're just so good.
It was fun. Okay, well, listeners, that'll do it for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on Interior Chinatown. Let us know if you've already watched the show, or if you're going to give the show a try. We hope you do. Like we said, it's all on Hulu, so check it out there. And as always, make sure you follow or subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes, as well as our next episode for May. We will be covering, I'll just give a little tease, we will be covering a graphic novel. But you can follow us on social media at PodDemastered. So yeah, once again, thanks for listening to this week's episode, and we hope you tune in to our next one.
See ya.